Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi. Amma ba'du. I greet our audience with the greeting, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to our Thursday evening Quran presentation. And tonight we're looking at chapter 16, verse 9. We're going through chapter 16, verse 9, and we're still comparing or contrasting the logic of Ibn Arabi and Imam W. Din Muhammad. That's our ongoing theme or topic, comparing the two in terms of their logic, looking at Quranic verses. So let's jump right in. Chapter 16, verse 9. Let me get my pen straight. So it began, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, wa ala Allahi qastu as-sabili wa minha jairun. And upon Allah is the qasdu. Qasdu, we could say straight. Qasdu could be purpose, the aim, what have you, and we'll see what the commentators will say. Qasdu Sabeel, of the path, the way, Sabeel. Where minha, and from it, jairun. And from it are deviating ways, neighboring ways, deviating to the Sabeel. These are deviating paths, we might say, to make it easy to grasp. Arabic and English is not always one-word translations. You know, my English will have to be very good to do one-word translations, but we don't always have that word. We can't always find that one word for it. But the idea that there is the way that is straight, that has purpose, that Allah has obligated himself to give purpose and direction to, but from it there are also paths that are not obligated by him, that may appear to be like the path that is straight. The verse contains وَاللَّهُ شَاءَ, and if he wanted, لَهَدَاكُمْ, he could have guided you ajma'in, all. He could have guided all to this Sabeel. We're talking Sabeel. He could have guided. So we're going to look at this idea of Sabeel. This is what we're looking at, Sabeel and Jairun. This idea but mostly Sabeel is what we're concentrating on in our comments. So first we'll look at Ragib, how he defines Sabeel. He says, As-Sabeelu at-Tariqu. So for the beginners, for the beginning students, the Mahdi students, those of you that are listening in on the webinar that I'm talking to, for you all, if you take that much in the beginning, when you're looking at Arabic, defining Arabic. Some of you are on this level now using Ragib, and some of you will be getting to it soon. Those of you who are in my classes. So As-Sabeel is At-Tariq, to help understand what Sabeel is. But Sabeel, of course, there's a difference between Sabeel and Tariq, how you may use the words. But Sabeel is Tariq. It's Tariq, and Ladhi, which, and Tariq is path. This is a path. Path, a way, street, Tariq, a road, Tariq. So Sabeel is a path, a road, what have you. That's what Sabeel is. الذي فيه سهولة which in it is ease, comfort and ease. So Sabeel has in it comfort and ease. It's not difficult. It's not difficult. In the Quran, from the Quran, I'm going to say without quoting, if you find it difficult, harsh, something harsh or difficult, it's not Islam. Sabeel. Because Sabeel is suhula. Allah does not intend for us to have difficulty. He intends for us to have ease. The Quran comes. It's revealed to man that he may progress and find ease, not difficulty. وَجَمْعُ subulun, and it's plural subulun. We hear quite often in our presentations. Subul. That's the plural of Sabeel. So this gives us the idea of Sabeel. Now, let's go to Ibn Arabi. He's commenting on the first part of the verse, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ قَصْدُ السَّبِيلِ. And up to, he's going to comment, that's what he's commenting on until he gets to the next part of the verse. So everything in this paragraph here is talking about وَعَلَى اللَّهِ قَصْدُ السَّبِيلِ. That's how you're to read these commentaries. Okay, that way you have an idea of what he's talking about. I said, that is to say, alayhi, upon him, I'm going to show the beginners and reading. I'm going to mix it up a little. I'm not going to tell you everything, show you everything, but I'm going to show things for the beginning students as well as for the advanced students in terms of reading. This is Ibn Arabi. This is my interest. Ibn Arabi, comparing Ibn Arabi and Imam W.D. Muhammad is my interest. I'm sharing my interest with the students. If this becomes your interest of reading a philosophical person like Ibn Arabi, then that's good. If it's not your interest, that's fine too. So this is not something that I push on the students, but I'm showing you. But you're learning how to read commentaries. That's the idea of the class, how to read commentaries. So he says, alayhi, the he goes back to, here's the Allah, so the he would be Allah. He will go, this pronoun will go back to Allah. Alallahi, alayhi. Luzumu as-sabil, see you have similar words here. Luzumu as-sabil, so luzumu is most likely he's talking about, he's defining kastu. This Ibn Arabi. Now you may look up kastu, it may not say luzum, it may or may not. So he's giving this idea of kastu being luzum. And this idea of luzum is the necessity. There's a necessity here, a need, a necessity, or even persistence that of the way. So Allah is placing insistence. The insistence, luzumu sabil, al-mustaqim. He's saying al-mustaqim, the straight way. So he has two words here that we can relate to kastu, al-mustaqim and luzum. We'll go into the idea of kastu. But like I'm saying, it's difficult to make it, to give it, translate it literally. So you read it, you get the idea from it. Well, hidayatu, which we in the second part of the verse, he's talking about guidance. It goes with it. And well, hidayatu and guidance. It's luzum, it's necessity, and it's guidance. Ilayha, guidance to it. لأهله, for his people, for his followers, those who follow this path. Then there is an obligation, there's an assistance if you're following this path. كما قال, as he said, the Most High, Inna Rabbi ala Siratin Mustaqim. Surely my Lord is upon Siratin Mustaqim. Not that Allah is upon Siratin Mustaqim. No. Allah also gives the idea of obligating the straight way. But here he's introducing another word for path as Sirat. We have Sirat and we have Sabeel. Perhaps as we read, Ibn Arabi may be reading the two together, Sabeel and Sirat. And then we will see with Imam Deputy Muhammad, he'll separate the two and speak to them. So Ibn Arabi, and then as students, take a look yourself. So this is in the chapter Hud, and this is the verse 56 in chapter Hud. When he says, Inna Rabbi ala Siratil Mustaqim, that is to say, kullu man kana ala hada as-sirati, that anyone who is upon this path, alladhi, which is tariqut tawheed. It is tariqut tawheed. And I'm going to say something here that, okay. So he's saying tariqut tawheed. It is the way of tawheed. And this, now, we'll say it now, we'll say it again later, we'll see it later. So tariqut tawheed, Ibn Arabi is treating, he's more or less defining Sabeel as Sirat. He's treating Sabeel like Sirat. And he's saying it's tariqut tawheed. But he said this Sirat is tawheed, tariqut tawheed. Let's see the difference between Ibn Arabi and Imam Deputy Muhammad. So remember this point. La Buddha, meaning that by all means, it is tariqut tawheed. وأن يكون من أهله, that it would be of his people, the Most High, the people who follow this path in seeking, let's say, in seeking Allah as the objective. لأنه طريقه, because it is طريقه, his path. That's what Allah has designed. الذي يلزمه, which he has imposed as a duty. Which he has imposed it, yes, as a duty upon the people of the way. Now this, I'm going to reiterate, because we're going to come back to it, the idea of Sabeel and Sirat. The next part he goes to of the verse, let me get my pen so you can follow that. وَمِنَ السَّبِيلِ, and from the Sabeel, and from the path, Sabeel, is Jairun. Yani, it means Ba'adu Subuli, some paths. There are many paths, more paths. This is in the plural now. Jairun, he's saying there are paths. وَهِيَ السُّبُلُ مُتَفَرِّقَةٌ, and that they are various paths. Another point to remember here that Ibn Arabi is making, that we may see we may be able to contrast with Imam W.D. Muhammad. Because there are various paths. Sabeel is in the plural now. And there are various different paths. And each path, we could say, has its deviant counterpart, if I could put it that way. So Sabeel, even though we're saying it's singular here, Kasdu Sabeel, but that's one path, but there are many paths of Sabeel. I hope you understand what I'm saying. But there are deviant paths associated with that's adjacent to the Sabeel or Subul. Mimma Adad, that's an exception to Sabeel at Tawheed. And they are Ja'irun, Adilun, deviant ways that will lead you away from universal realities. Adilun anil haq, that will lead you away from the true universalities. Yet there are paths that a person may take. But what's alone, it is connecting to al-batili, to falsehood. La mahallata, most certainly. When you read la mahallata, most certainly, فهي السبيل ضلالا. It is the path, the sabil, the way of error, lost, being lost, error. كيفما كانت, however it is. This is the idea that Ibn Arabi is giving on this idea of sabil. Now let's take a look at Imam W.D. Muhammad. So he says, As-Siratu al-Mustaqim. So Siratu al-Mustaqim, he said, is Amudi. It is vertical, Amudi. And Amudi also suggests support. It is vertical, but it is support. This, now he's separating, the Imam is separating Sirat and Sabeel. Ibn Arabi put them together, more or less. But here the Imam is separating to show a distinction between Sirat and Sabeel. And he's saying for Sirat, it's Amudi. It's vertical, it goes up, and it's supportive. Very support, because Sirat, you have to have Sirat to make the progress on Sabeel. Sirat is what supports you, give you support. It's a vertical path and it gives support to making progress on the path of Sabeel. وَلَا شَيْءٌ, and nothing comes between, or nothing is between Allah wal-Bahithi, and the one who seeks, the seeker, the one who seeks Allah, or seeks the way of Allah, or who seeks what Allah wants in them. There's nothing between them. Nothing comes between them. So on this path, it's between the seeker and Allah. Now, let me make this comment in what I'm saying. That in Islam, we don't have a priesthood. We don't have someone that comes between the believer, the bias, the seeker, and Allah. Though you may have a teacher, and you hear many say you have to have a teacher, you have to have a sheikh. You can't do this or that without a sheikh. You can't study bahith. You can't investigate. You can't study. You can't discuss. You can't do these things trying to find a way, wanting to stay on this path. You can't do it without a sheikh. Perhaps as students, but the student should only have a teacher that on this path, he's praying that Allah bless him like he blessed the teacher, that he may become as good as or better than the teacher. You don't have to stay with the teacher all the time. That's not the idea. That someone always has to be between you and Allah along the path of Sirat, Sirat al-Mustaqim. Yes, and if you're sincere along this way, and stay sincere, even with the teacher, like we're looking at teachers now. We're looking at men now, Ibn Arabi, Imam W. Muhammad, but not that we always be under them, that they always be between us and Allah. No, we hope to be the light come on for us the same as the light came on for them. You're not going to go all the way to Allah. Nobody goes all the way to Allah. But if you're sincere on this path and be raised up on this path, perhaps the Ruh, we talked about the Ruh before, the Ruh will be sent to you. And the Ruh has the knowledge, the Ruh has the light. And the light will come on for you because Allah has intended his Ruh for everyone. Some of his Ruh. I hope you understand what I'm saying, making this connection. There's the seeker who seeks him. But understand, you won't go all the way to Allah. You can't go all the way to this light, but he can send the Ruh to you with the light. Yes, and there are Quranic verses to support the logic of what I'm saying. So this is Sirat. Now, he says, لَكَ جُعِلَ هَدَاكَ مِنَ الْمُمْكِنِ لَنَا. He says, and he has made it is made, your guidance has been made, how do I want to say it? Your guidance has been made possible for us. So the guidance of Allah has been made possible for us. He's speaking from the Quran, but I'm translating from Imam to Arabic. But I'm also looking at the words I've chosen in the Arabic to give explanation to and understanding to the Imam. So he has made it possible for us. Guidance. See, hadaka. Your guidance has been made possible for us, and that na'ati ila subulina, that we can come to our path. Now, subulun, he's talking subulun now, not sirat. He's separating them. That we can come to our path. So Allah guides. Allah guides on both. Allah guides sirat, we say ihdina, guide us to Sirat al-Mustaqim. And Allah also guide us to as-subul. He guides to both. And both have the objective of coming or moving to what Allah wants or to Allah. Both paths. But one is singular. There is no plural to Sirat. Sirat is just one way. But subul, there are many. It's in the plural. There are many. Kathiratan. So he's saying many. As-subulu allati tusirul uftiyan. He's saying that as-subul, the paths which travels ufkiyan, horizontally. Ufkiyan is the horizontal. Kathirun, there are many. These paths are many. The path that travels vertical is one. The path that travels horizontal, ufkiyan, is many. So all of them all of them leads to Allah. Not just one, all of them. Whichever one you take. Yes. هذه السبل. So these paths, ilmu falaki. He's saying these paths are what? Are the knowledge of astronomy, or we could say ilmu falaki is astronomy. Well, riyadiyat, mathematics. Well, geography, وجميع العلوم الأخرى, and all of the other sciences. التي لدينا, which belongs to us, which we have. All of the sciences are Sabeel, and there are many, many paths of the sciences. If we look at a Sirat, Sirat is the path, but there's a path of honesty, righteousness, virtuousness, conscientiousness, nobility, so forth and so on. That's the path that's going up. Yes. So you have to have, if you're going to make progress on the Sabeel, you have to be honest. You have to be righteous, virtuous, conscious of what Allah wants. Good speech, good work habits, all of that you have to have. That's the path that's going up, which we may say is more of a spiritual path. And the path that goes horizontal, we would say is more of, it manifests more of the material path. Yes. But you have to have both to make progress. As Ibn Arabi has intertwined them both together, they intertwine both together here, yet we're separating them to show the difference. So Imam Wadisi Muhammad, he continues, لم يمكننا تركيبهم جميعا. So we're not able to number them, all of them. There are many, many sciences. وهناك العديد من الأقسام. And there are numerous من الأقسام, numerous divisions of the sciences. You have the sciences, and then there are numerous divisions of each science. There are numerous divisions of astronomy. There are numerous divisions of mathematics as a science, so forth and so on. All of them. So you have many branches, and that's what we call it. We have many branches of sciences, of the sciences. Or we could say, or at society, or disciplines, we may call it. Yes, disciplines, or we could say Sabeel, paths. They may be seen as disciplines, which we have in our language, courses. We go to school, they say, what is your discipline? What discipline will you concentrate on? What path will you take? Yes, we don't have to separate academic knowledge from religious knowledge like we do. Secular knowledge and spiritual knowledge or religious knowledge, there's no separation. Allah is the Rabb. He's the Lord of all sciences, be it spiritual or material. So these are disciplines. Disciplines, we may say. Courses, discipline in the sciences. جميعهم, all of them, يمثلون تخصصات. All of them represent disciplines. All the sciences represent disciplines, and it's imperative that we stay on the Sabeel. If we deviate, it will lead to error, as we said earlier. And mustaqillatan means that they are independent disciplines, or ra'isiyatan, or major disciplines. إنهم مرتبطون ببعضها البعض, meaning that they are all tied, they're tied together to one another. All of the sciences, though there are many paths, they're all tied together. في المخطط الكمالي, in the whole scheme of things, in the whole plan that Allah has put forth. They're all tied together. This is what gives us the concept of Tawheed here. The concept of Tawheed is more in the concept of Sabeel than it is in Sirat. Though Tawheed is in Sirat, but we see Tawheed in Sabeel, which we underlined earlier. Tawheed is not one. We're not counting 1, 2, 3 when we talk about Tawheed. Tawheed, we're talking about the sum total of the many parts, bringing the sum total together, tying all the sciences together, knowing that they're all interrelated, they're all tied together, though they may be separate paths. These paths are all tied together. This gives us a Tawheed in creation. And we see this. And once we see this and realize this, it brings us to the idea that Allah is Ahad, not Tawheed, because Allah is not the sum total of many parts. When we say one, we can say one, as the Imam is saying, لِنِظَامِ الْكُلِّيِّ لِلْمَدَّةِ. It is for the universal system. So it's the complete scheme, the whole scheme for the universal system of matter. This is the concept of Tawheed. This is what we see. And seeing this, we come to the conclusion that Allah is one. Not the sum total of many parts. Allah is not 3 in 1. He's not one that's made up of 3. No, you cannot fractionalize Allah. So his one is like no other one. All the other ones we say that's one, they're the sum total of many parts that have become one. There's the difference. That's the Tawheed. So in the sciences that we have, the Sabeel, though there are many, just one Sabeel that we all should be on. One of the many. All of us should be on one of the many Sabeel, and all of us should be on Sirat, the same Sirat. Yes. That gives us the support of whatever Sabeel we on, so that gives us a whole different meaning for many of us. When we say fi sabilillah, go on the way of Allah. Whichever way you go, fi sabilillah. Yes. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And I believe that's enough for us tonight. I thank you for your presence. Assalamu alaikum.